This is the Shacknews Quietest Lobby.
Yeah, this is a good place for you to redefine for you to reiterate what Quietest Lobby means.
Yes,
Austin.
please,
Quietest
Austin,
Lobby
please.
is a
Yeah.
game that we like, that did not achieve commercial success, does not have a lot of people. It has to be a multiplayer game that people aren't playing enough. So the lobby is quiet. Quite the opposite of Rocket League. You know, Rocket League has millions of people playing, cool game, doing really well. We're talking about a game that we wish had more people playing it. It's not pointing and making fun of this game. It's that we wish more people were playing it.
Also, we can do a little bit of both.
Yes, of
And
course.
I think we can do a little bit of both in the case of Marvel's Avengers.
I was about to say, there's going to be some making fun of.
Yeah.
No, but
God.
our point is, deep down, we wish there were more people playing these games.
Right.
That's it. You can all...
I think it makes me really sad that there were more people playing the Marvel crossover in Fortnite than there were at the actual Marvel's Avengers game.
It wasn't even close. That number isn't even close. But
that's the thing. And like Marvel's Avengers, like you can argue whether it's a bad game or not. I don't think it's a bad game. I think it should have been a single player game because that's one of my favorite stories of the year. Like one of my favorite like single player stories.
Mm-hmm.
But they've put so much into branching that story out into the multiplayer, and in order to experience that, there kind of have to be people playing the multiplayer, which there aren't really a lot of right now.
They should have just made it a story-driven beat 'em up that they added stuff onto, rather than trying to make a Diablo game that they can suck money out of butts for eternity.
I bet you Crystal Dynamics would probably agree with you right now, but I think
I bet they're pissed.
no game I guess really embodies the name of Quietest Lobby like Marvel's Avengers. A AAA game. It was published by Square Enix, for God's sakes. Just came out in September, which was only 3 months ago. Dipped to as low as 400 concurrents on Steam, which is it's disturbingly low.
Less than Stadia.
And this is why I really want for it to like the lobbies to bounce back, especially like as we're recording this before the Kate Bishop DLC comes out. I want that to recover. I wanted to recover because Crystal Dynamics has like these grand plans. Square Enix has like years worth of plans for Marvel's Avengers. You know who else had years worth of plans for their Marvel game? Capcom did for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. And Disney said, you know what? Your sales are shit. So we're taking our license back and you're done. And I feel like that could be what happens here. So I don't want to see that happen. I want to see these stories come to fruition. I want to see Future Imperfect in the spring. I want to play Spider-Man next year. I want to see all this stuff. So, you know, I would like to see the lobbies come back. I would like to see a potential comeback story for next year. I want to be talking about Marvel's Avengers next year for comeback of the year. That's my hope for it.
They really have some work to do with like certain systems in that game if they're gonna make that work. I love playing as Iron Man and flying around and shooting beams at everybody. I don't love sifting through 20 pieces of equipment and recycling 19 of them because I only have one of them that boosts my power by an absolute amazing increase of one little bit of power boost. And like that's my least favorite part of like games like Destiny and Diablo is just nitpicking and spending my time between action just like recycling mountains of trash. Like if I wanted to do that, I would take a whole bag of aluminum cans and sort them out and take them to the recycling center. I don't want to do that in video games.
It's double bad with the Avengers because the shit that you're sorting for is also mostly garbage, because in the end, a lot of the itemization doesn't really make any real difference on how you play the game or approach situations for the most part. Although admittedly, I only got like 15 hours into it, but
there are elements like nuclear elements and like ice elements that like make a difference incrementally in certain scenarios. But man, it's just still so much equipment to just be like, man, there's like one piece here. I guess I'll just get rid of the other 19. Why? Like, just give me the one piece, man. Don't hit me with this artificially inflated pile of crap that I don't need.
That's the game though, because Warcraft has done that we've done it for years, and people were like, just give me an arena where I fight the boss to get my gear and I can go on my way. You know, that they don't want to. You're right, the trash stuff, and people don't want to fight through trash just to get to the boss to have a 2% chance rate to get a +1 power item like TJ said.
Sucks.
And that's what I'm arguing, is that strapping that onto a Marvel game where like the production and like the experience is the fun part, it just drags everything down.
Yeah, I think Marvel Avengers has a stronger case considering the popularity of the brand overall. But Resident Evil's Resistance having a quiet lobby is disappointing, but not surprising. And I don't think it's because that game is bad. Resident Evil just isn't really known for multiplayer games. I would argue that they have very few decent ones. And I know TJ, like Outbreak was cool, but it was a very flash in the pan in the history of Resident Evil.
When they first demoed Resistance, it wasn't even called Resident Evil. It was just Project.
Yeah, it was just but they emphasized like the RE, like their
but I get what you're saying, and like
it
seemed like it was kind of shoehorned in with RE3,
and
it probably wouldn't have sold on its own. It honestly, we just kind of talked about this. It would have benefited from being a free-to-play game.
It also could have benefited from being a PvE game instead of a PvP game.
But I like it, Mastermind. It's fun fucking.
Yeah, I think the PvP element is a lot stronger. I think that the whole point of this wasn't really to create this huge fleshed out multiplayer experience. It was to have something additive for Resident Evil 3. We didn't know it at the time when it was released. But again, I don't think the game is bad. I just think it's it's one of the quietest lobbies going because it was always going to be. Like the fun of Resident Evil games, especially games of this style, is the single player. Like the speedrunning community, I still see speedrunners doing the RE3 campaign, but I'm not surprised at all that Resistance is a ghost town.
Capcom had so little faith in this game that they made it nothing more than an add-on for a game that was going to sell in.
I don't think that's true. I don't think it speaks to it.
I absolutely do. And they've tried to market games like this before and completely failed as well. And I think that's why it's I really feel like it's an afterthought.
You can feel that way, I guess. But this was when it was announced, it was just them. We didn't know it at the time, but it was just going to be an extra mode for RE3. I don't think
they teased Project Resistance before they revealed Resident Evil 3.
Yeah, I know that, TJ. That's what I'm saying. They advertised Resistance first. We didn't know it at the time, but it was going to be an add-on mode. It was always going to be an add-on mode.
See, that is the part that I'm not sure about.
Well, what if you could look it up and find out, because it's true?
I mean, they could always say that
an add-on mode.
They could always say that in that. Afterwards,
I mean, yes,
right?
We could speculate, yes.
Like, to me, that's like a PR slow jerk right there. I mean, I really doubt that's true. I think they pivoted after they got after the reaction to the trailer. I think they were just like, we're gonna not give this as much funding, just throw it in there with the new Resident Evil remake.
It's just a bummer to me because I really had a lot of when Resident Evil Resistance matches happened, I had a lot of fun with that game.
It's fun.
It's very cool. And it takes me back to the days of the very first. Resident Evil Outbreak was the very first online console game that I ever played, and there are a lot of cool memories associated.
I think it was mine
getting
too,
together with friends and one of the best parts of Resident Evil Outbreak was that was a PvE experience, and you were actually playing through a Resident Evil scenario in which you had to find key items, avoid some not only the regular monsters but a high class monster, and move forward in the scenario. And I think that for me is what's missing from Resistance is yes, you do objectives in the game, but it doesn't feel like you're playing through an actual there's a story there. The scenarios in Outbreak are story driven. There's actually a narrative to each of the scenarios, and I think that's missing in Resistance.
I don't think, if you look at the unlockable bonus modes in any RE game, such as Mercenaries back to I think RE2, they've always been designed to do one specific thing. they were never going to spend a lot of money on this because it wasn't meant to be that robust. It was designed to do one specific thing.
I know, and I think that's what makes it the most disappointing to me.
Mm.
I wish it was like more than it was. And I wish that people cared about it more, because it makes me sad to, like, and I know I'm not in the majority here. I do. Like, this is not going to be the one that wins this award, but man, it does break my heart to see.
It's a fun mode. It's a fun mode
to see, and it's not like it. And I would argue against Blake. It isn't like this was a afterthought, because they actually supported this mode for months after the fact with new characters, new masterminds, and a new map. It's not like they didn't give anything to it and just like was like, oh, here's this thing, enjoy, whatever. They actually did like try to balance some things and add new content to it, which I appreciate.
Yeah,
but
they had a rollout plan for this. I think what confuses a lot of people is Capcom didn't do the RE3 remake, and I'm pretty sure they didn't do Resistance. I think it was the same studio. I can't remember their name right now, but they're also working on the RE4 remake, which I mentioned in another debate. But like, I feel this was always exactly what this was going to be. Like, I don't think there were any pivot points. They're certainly, RE7 and RE2 proved to them that they know which side of the bread Resident Evil is buttered on. It's in strong single player content, but they also needed a bonus mode for RE3, and I thought online multiplayer was kind of the way to go.
Something that hasn't come up here is asymmetric gameplay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, yeah.
How challenging it is to execute that well. And I think one of the biggest problems with Resistance is that it's a game where it really benefits if you have 5 friends and you're playing it on Discord or together. If you're just a casual person trying to play the game with other people, random people on the internet, you're not going to have as much of a good time. And I think that's a challenge that all asymmetric multiplayer games run into, but this game specifically ran into.
For sure. This is definitely a game that thrives in LAN type environments when you and your buddies can sit there and communicate in real time and razz each other. Asymmetrical is really tough to do. I wouldn't mind seeing this expanded, but I also wonder if Capcom looked at that idea and thought, I don't know, Left 4 Dead is already a thing. You know what I mean?
I mean, like to Blake's point, like I do also feel that game felt more of like an experiment than that they were testing the waters to see if this formula could work in a Resident Evil.
Yeah, they didn't bet the company on Project Resistance.
Was that your point, Blake? I thought you said they kind of reacted to negativity and decided to scale it down.
I think they originally planned to release this as its own game, and that's why it got a trailer before Resident Evil 3. Like, you don't do that. You don't put the cart before the horse, so I think they scaled it back after initial reactions. Like, I really do. Like, they were probably gonna make it its own full thing, and then they're just like, nope, we're just gonna throw it on there now.
Yeah.
And that way people will actually maybe experience it. Like, that sort of thought process.
Hey, you know what's worse than not being received well and being Project Resistance or whatever, Resident Evil Resistance? How about shipping a game in June and it's already dead? Disintegration by V1 Interactive. Sam, are you back? No? Okay. Well, on behalf of Sam, I'm sure he's going to say he hates that game.
Yeah, but, I did his review, and it was it did not look fun. And I played it at PAX, and it was not that fun. So,
and I think that's a shame because it looked like it had potential.
It did have potential. I feel like the vehicle combat, or whatever you want to call it, like they're kind of like spaceships or hovercrafts. If they had just focused more on that element, you could have had like a new generation of Descent here. But instead, they focused on these. You have to worry about your troops on the ground. And it became this half XCOM, half flying shooter. And I think it became very busy. And there was a disconnect between the in-the-air combat and on-the-ground combat that just was too weird.
They want it to be Halo and Halo Wars at the same time.
Yeah, and I just don't think you know. And this, I think Halo's a good thing to bring up is that these were some of the Bungie founders that made this game. So there's elements of this game that are really tight. Like the core gameplay is not broken, but things that they did made it really, you know, you're talking about hard to pick up and play. This game is incredibly difficult to play, and the tutorial's like 15 minutes because there's so many intricate things that you have to learn. And then even once you do, I feel like the HUD did a disservice to the game because you never know where your dudes are on screen. You have to like look around for them.
So also to that point, like I think that like originally I have a theory that game was meant to either support one person in the ship and 3 other friends on the ground, or you switched views in between all 4 of them. I think that was the original. I have a sneaky suspicion that was the concept, but they just couldn't do it.
Yeah, like a scope limitation led to what they ended up with. I think that would have been a more fun game, Greg, if you did. And once again, going back to Resident Evil Resistance, it would have become a more asymmetric multiplayer game, which is hard to adopt or hard to get adoption for. I think charging money for this game was another challenge. You know, David's talked about arena shooters not really being the it thing anymore, and it's true. Arena shooters aren't really. So then you take arena shooters, you combine them with these XCOM mechanics, and then you throw in a spaceship, it becomes even more niche. And I think that this game probably suffered more than any other game this year from not having live events. Because when we were at PAX, they had that big ass spaceship at their booth, and there were lines to play this game. You know, you can't underestimate for a smaller studio how valuable being at E3 would have been for them.
Yeah, but that's like a car lot putting in a giant inflatable monkey out there to draw customers in. Oh, there's a spaceship. Let's go see what this hubbub is about. I don't see a case where they made this free to play in August, and if they had 5,000 concurrents for that upcoming weekend, it doesn't change all the broken parts of the design.
No, I'm just saying people didn't even know about it. I think there's a lot of people who straight up don't even know this game exists.
Yeah, I think I threw this on here just because I felt like the multiplayer was the best aspect of what I saw of Disintegration, and I felt like there was some promise there. But yeah, now there's no. It's like, you know, press F now.
You can't.
And they shut down the servers and are still charging for the game on Steam, which is pretty ballsy.
Well, there's a single player campaign, I suppose.
That's what a company on the verge of bankruptcy looks like, Krebs.
Yeah.
Like this, I can't think of a quieter lobby this year because there's literally
Private
no
Division
one in it.
is not on the verge of bankruptcy.
Who?
Private Division.
They're the publisher. V1 Interactive is the dev.
The publisher sets pricing and all that stuff.
V1. So yes,
they're trying to make up
Division.
some of their losses, Krabs. They're just.
Oh,
trying.
I understand why. I'm just saying that it's skeezy. I didn't say that. I understand what's going on, but
go read Marcus Leto's tweets about having to fire everyone at V1 last month. Like, it's not like there's no golden parachutes here. The studio failed.
I do want to bring up a game that has, as far as I can say, like as far as what I know and as far as what I've played, no real quality issues whatsoever, and still manages to be the quietest lobby for Rocket Arena. Like, let's talk about this, Ozzy.
Yeah, this hurts me.
I'm with you on this one, guys, too.
Think of it
You know what hurts me more is that they tried to take a great mod and charge for it by turning it into a video game that they really changed nothing about it.
The worst thing it had going for it was that name. They just needed to call it something else.
They should have called it something else.
It had too many ties to the old mod, so.
And that's why
everyone came into it. There were several threads on Chatty about it because we did a giveaway for it and stuff, and people were like, "Oh, sweet, Rocket Arena's back." And then they're like, "Wait a second.
This isn't Rocket Arena."
That was like a bait and switch.
Yeah,
thing,
so I feel like that, you know, it's like Wii U levels of terrible naming there. So I think that's part of it.
Also, games should have been free to play. I don't know why they charged
but they pissed off by going free to play shortly after they launched which is
Yeah.
sign of desperation, and I get why they did it.
It's not free on Steam at the moment, so they
Yeah,
must
I
have
don't
gone
think
back
it's
on
free.
that too.
It's
They
not
did.
It's not
free
free
to play.
anymore. It's $5.
It's not free
It's
to play,
free on EA Origin.
but it started as like a $40 game, and it turned into a $5 game within like 2 weeks. It was something like that.
You
That
want to talk
wild.
about skeezy? That's pretty damn skeezy right there. And it's also a sign of desperation when you have to drop your price by 30.
And I feel bad because that's a good game. I liked it a lot.
That's what's weird. Is that at its core, the gameplay's fun, and it's actually fun to play. And if they gave it a little more TLC, it could have actually been a thing. But
Good modes, good characters, good maps. Like all they needed to do was change the name and like make it free to play with like a season pass.
Yeah,
that's a game.
It's that crossplay.
It would have really benefited from being like a PS Plus title or something. Like these games that are multiplayer like this really do benefit from stuff like that.
They gave it away on Twitch a few months ago.
Yeah, but it was too late.
And it still hasn't saved it.
Yeah. I think that going
This
back
was
to
a
what we said
quality
about,
game.
it's not even an arena shooter, but arena games, there's not a whole lot of room for them anymore. Like, if Battle Royale is the hot shit right now, arena shooters are quite the opposite of that.
When you look at the historical context of arena shooters, most of those sold in the hundreds of thousands.
Mm-hmm.
It was only the rare few like Doom that sold in the millions. Like Battle Royales just completely dwarf anything arena shooters ever did.
Yeah, but that
that's why
in terms of
only,
audience.
But the only battle royale that ever sold was PUBG. All the rest of them have been free. So
that's fair.
You're talking about downloads.
Yeah, I think even if you look at this is another discussion, the merits of free to play, and like more people are willing to invest in those because you didn't have that $50 to $60 upfront investment. But
Rocket Arena, that game, I saw it at Judges Week like 3 years ago, and it was being developed by one studio and published by Nexon, and then 3 years later, it's like EA has it all of a sudden. I was like, what's going on here? Like, it seems like that game, it was mismanaged.
It was. Like, that game is, there's nothing wrong with the quality of it. It's just bad business decision after bad business decision.
Yeah.
Dragging that thing down to the ground and just keeping it obscure.
Okay, well, are we ready to vote?
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Okay, so what you got?
I'm going to say Marvel's Avengers.
I sometimes... Oh, sorry, Blake, go ahead.
I just want to put in for Marvel's Avengers as well. I really enjoyed that game. I grinded my way to get my Business Hulk outfit, and I had a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun playing the game, especially as Business Hulk, because I give I pretend I'm doing one of those like self-help seminars as I go along, talking about like how Hulk smashed all the profits because Hulk believed in
Mr. Fix-It
business.
That skin.
Yeah, but it's like in a pinstripe suit. So I'm just like, Business Hulk, look at projections, smash and go way up next quarter. And I feel like it's got potential. The problem is it's kind of like what happened with Destiny, where like there's only so much you can do and so many times you can replay the levels available until like the monotony gets to you, and the grind wasn't balanced at first. I think like the more they work on the grinding balance, the better it gets. I'm also with Ozzy on that. I really want to see the potential of all the DLC content that's coming down the road as well.
It's funny that there are a lot of parallels with Marvel's Avengers and Marvel Superheroes. A game which I worked on.
The same thing.
Yeah, like I worked on that game, and a lot of its early problems were coming, and then they relaunched free to play, and it actually did quite well. But
I love that game so much.
Yeah, and I hate that you can't even play it anymore. Like it's just gone. But
I've told this story like several times already. But like David Brevik was so sad that he said that is the only game that I've ever worked on in my career that there's no trace of it anywhere.
Yeah,
you'll never see it again.
I sometimes forget with this category that it's the quietest lobby that we wish were fuller rather than just the quietest lobby as in like biggest fall from grace. So for that angle, as TJ and I kind of talked about earlier, I definitely want to vote for Resident Evil. And it's a weird thing because, like, again, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect Resistance to take off. I thought it always would be what it was, and that the replay value would be more on the single player campaign where speedrunners and people who just want to unlock stuff would keep going back to that and maybe dip their toes into Resistance. But I think that game is fun, and I would like to see it make a comeback. So yeah, Resident Evil Resistance.
I'll cast my vote for Rocket Arena because in the spirit of this category, it's supposed to be, you know, games that we feel need the boost to become their full potential or whatever. I don't see how getting 10,000 concurrents in either Resistance or Avengers is going to make those games better, whereas Rocket Arena is already mechanically solid and good to go. It just, you know, the decisions made ahead of time bumped it up.
Looking at it from a perspective of, I think that it makes me sad that, like, I think as a staff we'd have a lot of fun playing Rocket Arena, and when I look at the other games, like, I don't really look at it and go, man, I wish the staff were playing Resistance, or I wish the staff were playing Marvel. I look at Rocket Arena and I'm like, crap, we'd probably really enjoy that. So I'm all Rocket Arena as well.
I'm also going to go for Rocket Arena for the exact thing that Bill said. Like, that is a fun game, and it just needs better business decisions to, like, put it in front of more people.
Well, based on the current trends, it's going to pass Steam for or pass Avengers for concurrence in about 3 months.
Any other? Steve, do you have a vote?
Yeah, I'll go for Rocket Arena also.
Okay. Is Sam back? Is he gone? Sam's gone.
Still muted.
He might be gone for a bit.
I'm sure Sam would vote for Marvel's Avengers.
Nope.
Just like I get a feeling. I don't know.
Guess what? Your feeling doesn't mean shit.
Is your Spidey sense tingling?
No one cares about your grandma's cookies.
Yeah, and you don't get a Spidey sense because you bought it on Xbox.
Oh, that's true.
That's a really shit move on their part.
Sorry.
Somebody
said a joke. Okay.
I got it.
Donovan.
I'm with Rocket Arena too.
Rocket Arena. Josh?
Donovan. At 2.
I think Marvel's Avengers multiplayer is bad, so I don't really.
Yeah, I'm with Donovan. I'm not a big fan of the multiplayer in Avengers. Disintegration's multiplayer, while I saw the strengths of it, I just really didn't enjoy it myself either. So it doesn't really matter to me if held or not. Sadly, I'm sad for anyone that lost their jobs, obviously. But as far as games that I wish would do better, like I think that I have to give my vote to Rocket Arena.
Asif, can I jump in for 1 second?
Yeah, sure.
I did get a vote from Sam. I
Okay.
just messaged him. It's unfortunately full. He actually voted Marvel, so.
Ooh, called it.
Okay.
Ooh,
He actually did.
Do you have a tie?
Greg.
Yeah, Rocket Arena. When we played that at Judges Week, we had a lot of fun with that game. And when it came out at $30, I was like, what have they done? What have you done? Not like this.
I've had a lot of fun with Rocket Arena.
Okay, so I know who's already won. I'm going to vote for Disintegration because I just feel like it never really got off the ground. And that's just kind of sad.
It's also a really good Cure album.
Yes. It is a good Cure album. But yeah, I don't know. I feel bad for that studio, what they went through this year. I feel like things could have gone differently for them, and they just didn't. But yeah, I guess you can't be the quietest lobby if your lobby doesn't exist anymore.
This is true.
We have one vote for Disintegration, 1 vote for Resident Evil Resistance, 1, 2, 3 votes for Marvel, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 votes for Rocket Arena. Rocket Arena has the dubious distinction of being the quietest lobby of 2020 here at Shacknews. It is decided.